Great day for golf, no matter what you're doing, or baseball. Last week of spring training.
And it's been a great spring for the Twins so far. They're showing signs that they're going to be a good team this year. So's the team they played today. 4 years after meeting in the World Series, the Cardinals and Twins are both on the rebound from the baseball basement. They met today in front of the biggest crowd of the spring in the Lee County Sports Complex, over 7,500. Minnesota took a quick lead, bottom of the first. Kirby Puckett singled to left. Dan Gladden came sliding home from second. It was 1-zip Twins. Then in the second, with 2 on and 2 out, Gladden roped a single through short. Shane Mack scored, so did Greg Gagne. It was Twins 3, Cards nothing. But St. Louis scored 3 in the third. Kevin Tapani with the old fake to third, fake to first, and throw wild to second play. Works every time. Geronimo Pena came in. The Cards tied it, but Chili Davis solved all that. Bottom of the third, he goes the other way and wraps this shot around the fair pole and left. His 6th home run of the spring made it 5-3 Minnesota. They went on to a 6-3 win, and they're now 18-9 on the spring. The Rangers play the White Sox in Sarasota tonight. Some of the Rangers anyway. The rest of them, along with Nolan Ryan, will be playing the University of Texas in Austin, and Ryan will pitch against his young son, Reed, in that one. Well, just when you thought you'd heard the last about baseball lockouts, guess what? They're back. The Umpires Union has now filed an unfair labor practices claim against the owners, saying they plan to lock the umps out of opening day games if they don't come up with a new collective bargaining agreement. Now, baseball says they've lined up about 200 replacement umpires, and the regular umps plan to picket those games next week if they're not allowed to work. Well, they're dancing in Durham for the Duke Blue Devils. After winning college basketball's national championship last night, Mike Krzyzewski's team came home today to find thousands of their fans waiting for him at the airport. The 72-65 win over Kansas brought Duke its first title ever, and about 10,000 fans packed Cameron Indoor Stadium on the Duke campus for a rally to honor their heroes. And when this week's Good Sport says he makes a living with his rod and reel, it's no fish story. Tom Tidy hit the water with a local man who's one of the best at finding them where they're biting.
Depends on the day. Like today, they ought to be active and up. The water temperature dictates more than anything.
Since turning pro 4 years ago, 43-year-old Larry Lazone has steadily climbed to the top of the highly competitive Bassmasters circuit.
When a guy that wants to do this for a living realizes that it's a humbling sport, he'll be better off at it and take his lumps with the good days as well as the bad days and go on.
Of course, a bad day for Larry might be catching just the limit.
Well, they're getting a little bigger.
The arsenal when casting for cash is mind-boggling. Instead of one rod for different lures, there's a rod for every occasion. It's one example of the sport's diversity.
You know, bass fishing, so you don't know where they are, you don't know what they're doing that day, you don't know what depth they are, you don't know what color they want, what bait they want. You can't control the elements.
One thing you must control, your emotions. Something I learned fishing alongside the pro I wanted to impress.
Think about it, you know, reaction.
It took a few hours, but my nerves and the fog eventually lifted. I was getting closer.
There you go. All right. Patooey. If you're lucky, he goes in. If you're unlucky, he goes out. And as far as I'm concerned, that's about as much luck as involved in it. Oh, you got to love it to do it. You keep your level of interest up just because it's fun. And we're fortunate that some of us are able to make a living doing it.
This sportscaster would starve on the pro tour. Still, for one day, I was the fortunate one, getting the opportunity to fish with Larry Lazone, a good sport, and one of the country's best anglers.
Hey, hey, hey.
In Port Charlotte, Tom Tidy, Wink Sports.
Tom is an avid fisherman, I'll have you know. He's not quite to the pro status yet, but as often as I call his house in